Okay, hello everyone. So today we are going to be talking about suffixes, or another way to change a word. Now, what does that mean? Change a word. What am I talking about? So suffixes, prefixes, you've heard these words before. And a prefix is a little group of words we put in the beginning of a word to change it, and a suffix is a group of words or a group of letters that we put together at the end of a word to make it a different word. And we do this in English because we have certain rules in our grammar that make it that this type of word, the structure, can only come in this part of the sentence. But sometimes we want to be able to put that word next to another word and have it be a different type of word. So say you have a noun and you want to use it next to another noun to describe that noun, you have to change it into an adjective. And we do that through suffixes and prefixes. And it changes the meaning of words. That's the other thing suffixes do, is it changes the meaning and where the word can go in a sentence. And this makes it that we can make new words in English all the time. Words that um, nobody says, somebody starts using, a certain group of, a word and a suffix, it turns into a new word. And people can understand that word because the suffix has its own meaning. So when you add it to a word, it changes it. So I was going to teach you, the ity suffix. And basically, you can add it to things. You can put it at the end of words like complex, turns into complexity. Necessity turns into, or necessary can be turned into necessity. And it turns an adjective, right, into a noun that means a state or condition. So complex, is an adjective. It's used to describe a noun, a person, a place, or a thing. Complex nursing, complex relationship. And when you add the ity, it turns it into a state that's a noun. And when I say state, think of words like happy or sad. They're not things you can touch. They're ways that you are, ways you can be, right? And so it's not something you can touch or hold or point to really and say that is complexity. It's just a state, right? So when you change complex to complexity by adding the ity, you're changing it from something you can use to describe to something you can talk about on its own. So instead of saying, I hate complex things, instead of saying complex things, you can say, I hate complexity. I hate things that are too complicated, right? So instead of saying that, you can just say complexity. I hate complexity, and people know what you're talking about. So the next one we're going to talk about is equity, and you add able to it to make it equitable. So equity to equitable. So you have the word equity, you add able and get rid of the y, and it turns it into equitable. So we made equity, right? The word we talked about that means like fairness for all, into equitable. Now, equity is a noun. When we use equity, equity is important in America. It's a thing, right? It's a state, right? A state of being when things are fair. But when we use equitable, right? When we add that ABL, it turns it into an adjective. So it turns it into a word that we can use to describe another noun. I value equitable transportation. Equitable is describing transportation. Now, you couldn't say I value equity transportation because you're putting two nouns together and making it sound like it's a name or a title. But when you say equitable, you're changing how people see this word transportation. You see the transportation as equitable, something that can be accessed by other people, no matter who they are, how much money they have, or what their kind of abilities are, right? If somebody's in a wheelchair or if somebody is blind, varying abilities, different abilities. That's what equity is. Fairness for all. Equitable turns it into a describer to describe something. Equitable transportation, equitable jobs, equitable housing. That's the kind of ways that you would use it to describe another thing, another noun, and make it say, I want, this noun that I'm talking about, I want it to mean access for everyone. Everybody has the same, everything is equal. So ABLE, we add it to lots of different words. We can make walk into walkable, fashion into fashionable, comfort into comfortable, enjoy into enjoyable, break into breakable. So the ABLE suffix able turns a verb into an adjective to describe something that can be done. So you took the verb enjoy, right? Enjoy is a verb. Enjoy your time, right? So they're saying the action of enjoying. But when you add an ABLE, enjoyable, you turn it into an adjective to describe something that can be done. So when something is enjoyable, it means that you can enjoy it. And that's how we are able to use it in English sentences, because instead of saying, I like things that enjoy, that's a verb and you're using it as an action. But when you say, I like things that are enjoyable, people go, oh, you like things that you can enjoy. So it changes the word. ABLE can also turn a noun into an adjective that describes the quality of someone or something has. So equity is a noun, right? That means fairness. But when you change it to equitable, it makes it a quality instead of like a thing, an idea. It turns it into something that um, you can have, right? A quality. So when something has equity or is equitable, it means that it's fair. Now the next suffix we're going to talk is DOM. So we have the word free, right? We know what that word means. It's a word by itself. You add this DOM and it turns into a new word. You get freedom. So free is an adjective or a verb. We can use it in those different ways. Free people. So this is an adjective here because it's describing the people. They're free. But you can also use it as a verb. I am free, verb, right? In our simple present tense, I am free from debt, meaning I do not have debt. But you can, when you add the DOM, freedom becomes a noun. Freedom is a noun. So you could say freedom is important to me instead of using it like an adjective or a verb. So you can add DOM to the ends of lots of different words, right? Bored, right? Bore becomes dumb, boredom. You add the DOM. King becomes kingdom. Wise becomes wisdom. So it changes what the word is. DOM turns an adjective, right, into a noun that describes a state or condition. Remember a state, when I say state, I'm not talking about the United States. I'm talking about a way of being, right? Like happy or sad. Wisdom is a state of being. It's a way of living. Same with freedom. Freedom is a way of living. The next one that we're going to talk about is individual, right? We use this word, and individualism. Individual, you add ISM, and it turns into individualism. Now it is a different word. Individual can be used as a noun or adjective. Individuals can buy tickets here. So this is being used as a noun, right? They're being used as a subject. But you can also use it as an adjective to describe something. Can you get me an individual glove? It means that you only want one glove, right? Single or a separate one. But when you use individualism, it turns into a different word, but it keeps some of the same meaning. So if you said they value individualism over collectivism, individualism is like the belief system that one person and their choices is more important than worrying about what is best for everybody. So other words that use the ism, atheism, collectivism, journalism, racism. And you'll see that all of these words are combining a word that we know and then with the suffix ism. Atheist combined with ism, atheism. Collective combined with ism, collectivism. Journal combined with ism, journalism. And race combined with ism, put them together, you get racism. So what does this all mean? So ISM, this suffix turns a noun into another noun. So now you may be thinking, okay, so it's not really changing the word. It still works as a noun in the sentence, but it turns the noun into a noun that has a different meaning. So race is a noun, but when you add the ISM, it's using it to describe a belief system, a behavior, or an action, a way of life type of thing. So it's the way somebody thinks. So when you say race and you turn it into racism, racism is the belief that one race is better than another, right? Journal, turning it into journalism. Now this one's a little bit different, right? Journal. What does a journal mean? Journal means to write things down that are happening, right? Current events. Journalism is the action, right? It's the way of approaching situations to record things that are happening. So that's why you add the ism. It turns it into noun. Journalism, racism. What was the other one? Collectivism, individualism. So it was a really quick lesson today, but all of these suffixes are used when we talk about words that are important to us, words that are of value to us. And when you understand how to use a suffix, you can add it to the end of any word and create a new word that has a little bit of a different meaning. So you're able to say, I believe in individualism. Maybe you believe in collectivism. So, and it's nice because when you come across a word you don't know, you can simplify it, right? So if you didn't know what individualism meant, you could go back and look at the word and say, okay, I don't know what individualism is, but I do know that ism is a suffix. So I'm going to get rid of that and just look at what word it is to try and understand. Okay, individual. I know what individual means. So it has something to do with a single or separate or somebody being, a person being, one. And it will help you kind of work your way if you're reading and you don't understand something, or if you're listening to somebody talk about something. If you didn't know what, let's see, if you didn't know what wisdom was, but you know what wise means, you're able to kind of understand what the word means. So suffixes will help you to make new words, to be able to know how to change words to better express yourself and describe things that you think are important, things that you value. So that's our lesson for today. That's it for suffixes. And we will continue talking about how to express ourselves. I'll give you some practice on writing what's important to you, and kind of getting used to sharing those thoughts with people.